Everyone talks about the zero state income tax in big homes in Texas, but here's what they don't tell you about living in Texas.
So we're going to share with you some surprises, some truths, and hopefully some tips to help. I was born here in Fort Worth, Texas.
And I got here when I was 4 years old, so if you want culture, we know it. First off, the weather isn't just hot here.
No, it's actually scorching hot, which means that you're going to need some shoes to go outside and not burn your feet on the concrete.
Yes, even for your pets, right?
That's correct. Take care of your doggies.
Their little paws will burn if you don't take care of them. But it's not always scorching hot, with the exception of a couple of months, right? But we do have rapid weather changes, and we're going to talk about tornadoes and hurricanes here in a little bit.
So here in Texas, we have sudden weather changes, which means that it could be a clear blue skies, and all of a sudden, a few hours later, there are some clouds that can cause some damage. What does that mean? That means that hail here in Texas is real, not H-E-L-L, H-I-L. And it can get so hot, it feels pretty hot, like, anyways. But yes, hail can do damage to roofs, cars that are parked outside, and so it typically, because we say it just wait an hour, that weather's gonna leave and pass through. So it doesn't stay, but it does happen.
And many of our clients do ask us, well, how do you know? Well, you'll see that it starts getting dark suddenly, and if it does, we'll check the weather out. It's not always going to hail, but it's possible, and you don't always know exactly when you're going to get big hail or not. So I do advise that you purchase a house with a garage, that you actually park in the garage for hailstorms. Along with the storms can come humidity here in Texas. Now, there's different levels and degrees of humidity. I'd say Dallas-Fort Worth does get humid sometimes, but Austin, Houston, and San Antonio can get even more humid. So if you're trying to escape humidity, the further north you go, the better. But that doesn't mean we don't have any humidity. It does come and go, especially in the months of May and June.
So we do not get a lot of snow here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but we do have some ice. And what that means is that our once a year or twice a year, it can get below freezing, and we're not prepared for that on the roads. So we don't have the equipment as many do up north. And so what that means is typically schools will close, things will shut down. Even our power outages can, sometimes be 24 hours. It doesn't usually take too long, but we can have those.
I would say 24 hours only happened once with Snowmageddon. Usually it's a few hours if we have a power outage.
Correct.
Yeah.
So some people ask us about allergies in Texas, and we really just suggest that you take a trip and explore this area. Take some time to be at a park, be outside. Just take some time to really know about maybe the ragweed or the cedar that's kind of blowing around, and that way you can experience it for yourself.
By the way, my name is Dana Pollard, a real estate broker in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
And I'm Brandon Pollard, and I'm a fifth-generation Texan, and yes, I do have my license to help as well.
And we'd be so happy to help you find your dream home here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So all you have to do is fill out the Dream Home Questionnaire in the link below, because what we help with is we help with you not just finding the best home for your family, but the best culture match or values match for the city and neighborhood that you are looking for, the best community. So we would love to help you with that, because the last thing you want is to be stuck in a neighborhood that you hate. So fill out the Dream Home Questionnaire in the link below, and we'd be happy to help. Next, we want to talk about the bugs, the critters, and the snakes here in Texas. I know that many people have a fear of snakes or bugs and spiders, so we're going to clear this up today.
Yeah, we're going to actually explain what critters are, because down south we call them critters, but you may not use that word.
Okay, so we do have fire ants, and if you're going to walk outside barefoot, you can very easily get caught in a fire ant nest. So I just recommend hiring pest control. They take care of all the fire ants for you. But if you don't have pest control or treat them yourself, you will get fire ants here in Texas.
So a big question people have for us is, what about mosquitoes? And yes, everything's bigger in Texas, so we do have mosquitoes here. But here's the thing is, like she said, we use pest control. Backyard typically stays pretty clear. Where you guys are going to parks or going near lakes, there is going to be mosquitoes, so just use your mosquito repellent, and we typically have a lot of fun at lakes.
Many of these homes, well, in the luxury level, come with like mosquito repellent systems in their home for their backyards. So you just have the pest control fill that up. You can also have them spray your fences, all of that kind of stuff to keep mosquitoes at bay. So my biggest recommendation is when you are choosing a home, don't purchase a home that's sitting right behind still water. So you're going to see beautiful ponds in many of these neighborhoods, but if that pond doesn't have a water features are added, yes, for beauty, but they're also added to bring movement to the ponds to reduce bugs and mosquitoes in particular. The other thing some people ask about are roaches, and again, it's just called pest control. If you're not moving to an apartment, you probably don't have to worry about roaches unless you don't have pest control or you don't clean up after yourself. So we haven't really experienced roaches here in our homes. In Texas, maybe an occasional one, but again, pest control takes care of that.
So if we do see a roach, it's typically in the garage, and I just grab a saddle and hey, it's good for a ride. Everything's bigger in Texas.
I'd say the biggest nuisance that I have are wasps, because you can have pest control, they'll come and they'll knock down the nests, but they always come back. So that's the biggest nuisance that I have here in Texas.
Yes, if you love your home, so do the wasps. They want to make their home there as well, but it is an easy fix. It's not too terrible for them to remove them.
It's just a continual process, right? Okay, let's talk about snakes, because snakes are no fun. At least I don't like them. Maybe you like them, but I know some people don't like them.
Maybe you're a snake handler and you love snakes. We do not handle snakes, and so we really don't see them here in the city as much as those like my family members out in the country. Rattlesnakes are real and they like to sunbathe. So the hotter it gets, you're gonna see them out in the country. So if you're hiking or if you're out visiting, beware of rattlesnakes.
Another reason to wear your jeans and your boots. However, if you are moving to a suburb or the city, anywhere in the city or suburb, we don't see them very often. Maybe on a rare occasion. We're talking like once every 3 or 4 years, I'll see a grass snake. How often do you see snakes?
Well, we have a park not too far from us, and so if you're looking for them, you can find them in the trees. Digging for them, you definitely can find them because they're there in Texas.
Digging? I guess I don't do a whole lot of digging.
Not a snake handler.
Next, we're going to talk about driving and traffic culture here in Texas.
A lot of our clients ask to look at homes that are just a few cities away, but at the same time, they don't realize how big Texas is.
Yes.
And I remember driving a client 45 minutes and we were still in the same city and they were amazed just how huge Texas can be. So just be aware that, you know, you can drive 8 to 12 hours and still be in Texas.
That's true. And then just within the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, it can take an hour and 15 minutes to get from one side of Dallas to the other side of Fort Worth. So it is pretty big, even just the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
We have clients that tell us that that's the size of their state.
Yes.
And so it's very interesting to come to Texas and see so much land, so much development. And they're always amazed.
So beware that many Texans do drive fast here in Texas, especially in the express lanes. Let's say the speed limits can be 70 on the freeways. Have you seen 75?
I'm going 85, but yes, they're usually 70, 75 on the expressway.
Don't confess.
Yeah, and if you're watching this and you're in the police, I was not going that speed. But yes, Texans go fast. And really there's such long ways that you have to do that in order to get to where you need to be.
As quick as possible.
As quick as possible.
You have to. It's culture. And of course, there's traffic here in all of the major cities in Texas as well. DFW, Austin, Houston. That's normal. I don't think it's near as bad as some other states like LA, right? But we still get traffic here.
I've traveled all over the world, and back in this area of DFW, the traffic doesn't seem as bad as some places we have been. So we're still pretty happy with getting to our location.
It's relative from where you're coming from. If you haven't heard already, even though we don't have a state income tax, which is wonderful, we do have high property taxes here. However, they did just get lowered across the state last year, saved us thousands of dollars on our yearly taxes. However, this year, something happened because they shot our values way up, and we are now protesting our home value with the county. So
you can do that. You can protest, and
every year you can protest.
Show, especially as you see the neighborhood and what's selling, it's easy to protest.
Next, we're going to talk a little bit about politics and the culture here in Texas. I would say like the Texas way of life. Texans are rooted in a Texas culture for sure, right?
Shocking. I mean, really is something, because I'm generation Texan, that we're really proud of some of the family culture that we have, guns and protecting our family, protecting the people we love. It's a culture that if you are not used to it, can be shocking.
Yeah. And of course, depending if you're in rural areas, the suburbs, or city urban life, culture varies. Of course, cities like Dallas, Austin, Houston, the city life definitely leans liberal. Then you get into the suburbs and rural living, and it's highly conservative. Overall, it's still a friendly culture pretty much anywhere that you go.
Yeah, so if you're driving, you definitely want to give the first finger on the steering wheel, not the middle finger, because that's what other states might do. But we like to say hello to our neighbors with the first finger and just give the old, hey, how are you doing? Wave. Walking, you can actually wave at people and they'll actually acknowledge you.
Next up are some hidden gems in Texas. I would say we both agree that the Hill Country is the prettiest part of Texas. There are no mountains in the Hill Country, but there are some beautiful hills, scenic views.
Great views, and lots of great shade and trees. And so in Texas, you're looking for shade. You're looking for something that's not flat, because we got plenty of that. But these areas really stand out to us. Anywhere where you're near a lake can be beautiful too. There's a lake that's about an hour and a half from DFW that has cliffs, and it's called Possum Kingdom Lake, and so you can really, they do professional cliff diving there, and so it's really beautiful. There's some beautiful lakes here in Texas.
Yeah, there are some caves near Austin. There are some natural springs again near Austin where there's some like swimming pools, and the natural springs is really pretty. We're going to touch briefly on schools and education here in Texas. If you're going to enroll your kids in the public school district, it can vary district to district as to the quality of education, and all of that is going to be determined by your address. So check the school district that this home that you're considering is zoned to.
I think here in Texas we have a great supply of private schools, and also homeschool is taking off here in Texas after the COVID that we experienced. Many families are going the homeschool route because they started there, and so seeing success in co-ops in different areas of Texas where you have more to choose from sports. We love our sports, even with homeschoolers or private schools. We take it seriously, and there's a lot of traveling sports. So any of those things that you're interested in for your kids, we do it bigger and better in Texas.
Let's talk about the natural disasters here in Texas. We're talking tornadoes, hail, and hurricanes. So let's talk about tornadoes here in Texas. How many tornadoes have you encountered in your, we won't tell how many years of life you have?
So in my nearly 5 decades of living in Texas, we haven't experienced a tornado that's hit our personal property. We do have some friends and family that it has done some damage to their property. It's very rare though for tornadoes to touch down. We'll get lots of warnings here in Texas. So much so that you start ignoring those warnings, because it's kind of like, just something that happens so often that it rarely touches down. But when they touch down, it is very serious. And I want to say that, again, over 5 decades, maybe on one hand, I can count the people that have actually, it's impacted them in a negative way where they had to use their insurance.
Okay, so on tornadoes, many people say you don't have basements, so where do you go? And there are a handful of homes, maybe 1% of properties do have like a tornado shelter that you can purchase and put in your garage or build it into your home, or outside. I guess they can build shelters underground, but it's very rare to find that. We say near the stairs if you have stairs in your home, or like an inner room that has no windows. That's the safest place for a tornado. I think I have taken my kids to a tornado safe area in our home maybe once in our entire life. But again, like he said, we've never experienced a tornado personally, but we do respect them because if they hit, of course, it's a big deal. But it's probably like wherever you're at, whatever natural disaster you're concerned about there is probably the level of concern we have here about tornadoes. We are more concerned about hail because hail brings more damage than tornadoes in our world. And while that doesn't threaten our life typically, it does like hit our cars if you're driving. If you leave your car parked outside and a big hailstorm comes through, it can damage it. And then your roofs.
So in the last 5 or 10 years down south, we see hurricanes that have impacted the Houston and southern Galveston area. And so when that happens, there's flooding, there's storms, there's damage that can be done. And so here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, typically we'll send help to them.
Yeah.
But we don't experience the same flooding, or we'll get storms, but not near what's happening down in Houston or the Galveston area.
Yeah, I'd say some of the older developments here in Dallas-Fort Worth that didn't have proper drainage or engineering for the runoff, those areas can flood, but most places in Dallas-Fort Worth or Austin, we don't typically have issues with flooding here. It's mainly in the southern parts of Houston, like you said, going toward Galveston.
So I would just ask, if you're a foodie or if you just enjoy food like us, then, you know, what do you do for fun? And a lot of people ask us that. What do we do for fun? We like to dance. We've taken dance lessons, and we're not professionals at all, but we like to country dance, and there's local bands around us that play, and we'll eat barbecue or at the barbecue place. And so Texas is known for great food. Also some great dancing, great company. People are pretty friendly, talk with you, and you can be out and enjoying dinner and enjoy it with people and friends.
Is there anything that you have heard from clients that have moved to Texas that's shocking to them that maybe our viewers would want to know about?
Well, I have some clients that have gone on to like Google Earth and looked around the area, and then they go in person, they realize it's a lot bigger than what they thought it was going to be.
Maybe even prettier.
And prettier. I think that, you know, just seeing the different seasons that we have, because we do have all 4 seasons.
Yes.
And so seeing that, experiencing that, not just coming in for a week, but actually experiencing the different seasons, we appreciate the fall. We appreciate the cool, crisp air. We appreciate the spring, and right now it can be raining, and it's just beautiful with flowers and bluebonnets and, you know, wild blackberries and just things that maybe you didn't get other places.
So if you are looking at moving to Texas, that's what we help you with, is discover the best places, meaning cities, neighborhoods, and home for you to live. But if you're planning a discovery trip, we highly recommend you come visit the area. Like he said, if you have allergies, experience Texas, get to know the lay of the land. We would be happy to help you put together a plan for your discovery trip and then help you find a home when it's time. So fill out the Dream Home questionnaire in the link below, and we'd be so happy to help. And put in the comments anything shocking that you've learned or experienced in Texas.